A little bit.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our video for AWC, hosted by the lovely Offer 2 community. Yay. And our discussion will be on white, gray, and black characters and why it's good to write for them. I'm Lauren. This is my channel, and I write fantasy, paranormal romance, and poetry. Nicole?
Hey everyone, it's Luna here. My channel is Luna's Mr. Lights. I write dark poetry, fantasy, and paranormal.
Hey everybody, I am writer Sam Wicker. I write fantasy, romantasy, and probably a word I should not say on Lauren's channel, but fantasy with spice. We'll just put it that way.
What's wrong with that? I like Spice. She's the one that does it. See, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna say she's a prude.
Focus.
I don't like you guys.
But I figured we would each kind of do like our own little definition and the traits for each sub-genre of like the type of character you find in a story. And then the last 15 minutes, we will open it up to Q&A. So if anybody has a question, leave it in the chat with the Q. And hopefully we'll be able to get to all the questions. If not, you can come back here and leave it as a comment, and one of us will be sure to answer it.
Yep.
Who wants to go first?
You should. You got the hero or the white character.
I thought you were gonna be like, not it. Anytime we do a stream together, next like, Lauren can do it. Lauren can do all of it. I'll just sit here and look pretty. So I was kind of joking before the stream, saying that after doing my research, that the hero kind of makes me think of a Boy Scout in a way, because they're defined as being the good character in the story with a moral high ground, and a lot of their characteristics focuses on being courageous and compassionate and try to overcome some type of either personal, emotional journey and oh god, I forgot what I was going with that. Anyway, tries to grow as a person, or in some stories they actually go on a physical quest, and by the trials they overcome or the challenges they face, they internally grow as a person. And why I think it's a good thing to write for a hero, because it may force you to look internally inside and see how you can relate to showing others how to be compassionate or to be, I guess, a bigger person in a situation. And that's not always the easy thing to do. I think it's easy to be swayed by outside forces or even like bad things that are going on around you.
Nice.
Yeah, somebody else please talk. It's a girl.
But I kind of agree with what you said about the Boy Scout. Like, you need a hero, I can do like Superman or Captain America.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like in D&D sense who'd be like a paladin, right?
Paladin, someone that is. I would be the one for a great character. Not chaotic. It's
Light elves and stuff. The
yeah.
healers. A lot of healers are usually white characters. Or morally white characters, I should say.
Knights, your tanks or fighters.
Man, now I'm trying to think of like a morally gray or a dark character trying to be a healer.
Purple.
No.
No.
Or a party near a member of your party is mortally injured and about to die. All right, I'll heal you.
Give me money first.
Or price.
Well, there are instances in some books where a healer has to make a choice on who to heal because they don't have enough mana to heal everybody. So that could make them a gray character or start building them towards being a villain because they start thinking negatively because they couldn't save everybody.
Right. Do you want to do that stand with the gray one?
That was a good segue.
Oh, okay.
Good job.
Yes.
All right, so morally gray characters is usually the mashup of good and evil. That's a simple explanation, but it's not everything a morally gray character is. These characters are complex, they're multidimensional, they are realistic. Their internal struggles are juicier and grounded in multiple reasons or traumas, even. Just like I said about the healer. They can't heal everybody because they don't have enough mana, so they have to choose between the paladin, the rogue, or the elf. So you don't choose the elf because they have a long life anyway. They probably lived a long time. So maybe that healer didn't choose the elf because of that reason. But then you have the paladin and the rogue. Who do you choose from there? Do you choose the paladin because they are a morally white character and a rogue is a gray character? They've done some bad things. So would the healer go with the paladin or would they go with the rogue? And they have to have all those reasonings behind it. They could choose the elf because maybe they have a relationship with the elf or something to that nature. Maybe they don't like paladins at all because of reasons in the past. Maybe they don't like rogues at all because of reasons in the past. So they have to have scars. They have to have traumas to build their reasons and their feelings up, because great characters usually rely solely on their emotions. They are not the hero, nor are they the villain. They challenge the simplicities of right and wrong, good and bad. For example, you have a person who has committed war atrocities, ended many, many lives, maybe even committed genocide. But when they rule after that, they have made a way for the peace no one in the last 3 generations has witnessed. Maybe they create a country where there is better equality, more opportunities, and more education. Are they evil? Are they good? They're someone's villain, but they're also someone's savior. So that duality is what makes gray characters so loved, adored, and remembered through time. Because unlike heroes or villains, I feel like I'm making an argument here, gray characters have the one-track mind or the blinders on. They see the world, what they're doing to it, and they know that they're about, and they know what they're about and trying to accomplish. So
I was just gonna say a morally gray character can be swayed in somebody else's perspective either way, like you said, based on their actions.
mm-hmm.
An outsider could see them as a villain,
Mm-hmm.
but that character that's being villainized might, it might be stemmed from trauma and they want to heal from that and be the hero in their story.
Yeah, exactly. So some types of gray characters are the former good person, like the whole healer person, maybe. That one is kind of like the most intriguing to me because it's like, what made them turn a little bit more towards the dark side? So their internal struggles are often the most heart-wrenching to me. And then another type is the hypocrite. We all know this person. That's the little old biddy in church who judges and gossips, but then turns around and cooks enough to feed the orphanage next door. Another one is where the evil one is right, like Thanos. We all know that cutting the population of the universe in half is going to help nature flourish. But Thanos did it. So is he evil or good? He's gray.
Then it's like then you're condemning the idea of like it's okay for him to murder a whole, like you said, genocide for the greater good.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the chaos.
Nikki?
This is my favorite gray character is the chaos because I write chaos gray characters very well. They change loyalties all the time. You don't know what they're thinking. Do they really have a goal that they're working to? Or are they just truly, utterly chaos and living in the absolute moment? Chaos. That is my favorite gray character right there. Like Loki, for instance. Half the time you don't know what Loki's thinking, period. So we usually like gray characters because they are like us. They are both good and evil. They are a duality. They are for themselves most of the time, but sometimes they do help others. They don't do things just because it's right or just because it's wrong. They do it because of this, and this. A long laundry list of reasons. And gray characters to me have the best inner dialogue usually because they're fighting with themselves constantly. So yeah, that's my argument over gray characters, I guess.
All right, my turn. So I got the dark character.
I tried to convey how to join the dark side.
Yeah, cookies.
Lots of cookies.
So, like the heroes that see virtues and gray that lead of emotions, dark characters seem more entitled to their intellect. They're the ones that are usually the mad scientists or the villains with the evil master plans that people can relate to because either they have a lot of trauma in their lives, they've been betrayed by family or loved ones, they are usually the outcasts or outsider in society, and because of this, they don't stick to like virtues or morals. They look for the loopholes and ways to bypass the laws of society because they don't feel like they're a part of it. And they feel like they've already been rejected by that society that's trying to judge them. Common traits usually are people that are selfish, greedy, show a lot of cruelty, lack of empathy, and blur the lines between good and evil. A lot of times they're seen as the person that the hero will stand up against or defend against, and are seen as either their polar opposites or their nemesis in some versions. But I feel like the reason why a lot of people write dark characters is because it's a fun way to play the idea of a character that's not bound by society or laws. And they add that intellectual play to your writing. Because they're the ones that have to have the, what's the word? When the villain has their like giant speech. Monologue. Like, brain fart. Okay. And when I saw Laura, I was doing research, I was like, I had a I was like, these are all my characters. And when I was writing examples, like, I thought anime, like, you have, like, Luz, you have Alucard, you have people that are broken, but yet you still want to root for them, you still want to see them have their happy ending.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like a broken character can also be the hero. Like, trauma can affect you in all different kind of ways, but I feel like the hero would, like, despite that trauma, like, try to put on a brave face and still stick to like their moral code.
That's the thing, though. They have the moral code where, like, I want to save the world, I'm broken. Okay, I just, sacrifice myself, be martyr, and still be good. Where Dark Terror is like, I'm broken. How can I get back to those that broke me and make them pay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And every character has that line that they will not cross, whether they're morally white, gray, or black. They have something that they will not do no matter what. Usually morally gray have like a long list of something or a medium list of something.
And I was going to say, does a morally gray character have that line?
I think so.
So look at like John Wick, okay? Somebody killed his dog. That's the line that he does not want anybody to cross.
Yeah. First line I learned is more. That's a line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got a couple of, was King Arthur a white or gray character?
Nikki?
What's up?
Was King Arthur a white, gray, or black character?
I think he was white because he was seen as like the king that was supposed to bring magic and create this new world.
We gotta bring order to it.
But at the same time, he wasn't dark for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if he knew like everything that was going on, I think he would have been more gray.
Yeah. And it does depend on the writer. Go ahead. I think King Arthur was more of a whitish gray.
Yes.
He was like right in the middle because there are some things that he did that in whichever story that you're reading, there are some things that he did was like, huh? Why? That's not heroic. That's not going towards the goal that you have set. And then there's other times where he is focused and he has those blinders and he's for that goal no matter what. Right. But he won't hurt anybody for it.
So I'll put this out there. So if a character is deemed as being white, but they're easily swayed to do dark things, but that still makes them a white character, or does that make them a morally gray character?
I think it'd be like in between. Because they can say they're white and then like not atone or admit the thing they're doing outside of being here.
Mm-hmm. And you can always have a character that fluctuates too, because they can go from being heroic to being dragged down into villainous intent and then make a comeback and become a hero again. So
But wouldn't that still be a morally gray character?
No. Like I said, it fluctuates in a sense. No, it just depends on what part of the journey is when you're fluctuating what you are in that journey. Like, if you're trying to stay on people, then yeah. But if you're acting out of what you see as your virtue and morals, then you're starting to slip toward the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's always like the hero's journey. There's always that dark night of the soul. The hero's journey, depending on the hero, they could turn villain at that point in time. So, yeah. Odysseus is definitely morally gray, I think.
Oh, yeah. No question at all.
I mean, you could argue if he was a dark character, though, because some of the stuff he did was just dark.
Mm-hmm. Katniss Everdeen.
Started out gray, then went dark. Near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Katniss Everdeen forced from being a morally white character to a morally gray character. And she stayed pretty much morally gray.
Yeah, I was mad. Lovely.
I'm not sure.
Rach asked, when would you say a gray character crosses the line into morally black? What would you say is the moment of redemption for a morally black character? How does the writer know when they've achieved transition? So first question, when would you say a gray character goes into the blackness, into the darkness?
When they cross that line, they said they won't cross.
Where when they let their emotions take over, and they can no longer like they have this blinder on, they can no longer see reason.
Right. I think also if you want to look at it from like the outside in, like you're looking at it from the other character's point of view towards that one character, when 95% of the outside characters think they're a villain, that's when your character is a villain.
But again, like you said, it goes back to perspective, because what the other characters might see that character portraying outwardly, they don't know what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be that one crazy henchman that's going to make up the 5% that says this person is awful.
Right. What were you gonna say now?
I mean, that's why I like the story for Code DS for Elias, because near the end they call him the Demon King, but yet no one really knew except for his sister that he was trying to do good, but the outside world just saw him as a killer that needed to be put down.
Mm-hmm.
And he did kind of exploit his power, so was he really good?
Yeah. I like this. Maggie says, when anger means more than honor is when a character crosses over into villain. Yeah. Okay. So the second part of Rachel's question, what would you say is the moment of redemption for a morally darker character?
I'd say when they're the reason for their own master plans not to work.
You mean like to get in their own way of like having like a
success
and kind of go on like a healing journey?
Well, that, but if they know if their plan succeeds that life will be destroyed and there's no time back, so they made sure it can't succeed.
There you go.
Oh, like they sabotage the plan on purpose, trying to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. File a note for later.
So that to me is almost like, depending on the shade of morally gray they get bumped up to. So a villain can save a dog, and to me they become a gray character because they saved a dog, and that's that's my heart right there.
Save the animals, screw the world.
Wow.
What about you, Laura? What's your thoughts?
Well, I was gonna say like almost the example I had fluttered away, but I'll just say like, taking like the idea of jumping in front of your enemy to take like a bullet for them, knowing that it could fatally wound you or kill you, but it's like I did an honorable deed, so in that way it kind of redeemed me a little bit.
Right.
Like you were a horrible person, but you risked your life to save others. I guess that redeems you a little bit.
Right.
I mean, I would say no, but
when the good
outweighs the bad. It depends if that character starting out with morally gray or just a straight up villain.
All right, and the third part to her question, how does the writer know when they've achieved that transition? When your readers are telling you that they don't want that person to die anymore.
That's a good one.
I don't have an answer.
When the readers don't hate that character and want them to die.
Or if the reader wants a character redeemed. Because I learned that it's fun to write characters that you want the readers to hate.
Why are you doing the morally white characters then?
No,
Thank you!
Oh. That is why I originally asked my question. If a morally white character... Oh, I got words. If a white character is still pure if they're persuaded to do bad things. Hence me, my personality.
That depends what they're persuaded to do.
Yeah, if it's to like go steal an ice cream truck for your kid's birthday, then that to me is still like a morally white character.
Right? Or like, I'm just free on animals for fun.
So what we're mostly saying is that the lines between morally white, morally gray, and morally black are dependent upon the reader. They're subjective.
Yeah. And what other factors that you included about the character in the story? Like, have you shown what trauma they face and how they dealt with them?
Yeah. Okay. But I seriously think that the transition, when you know that you've hit that transition, is when like they do more good than bad. The other characters interacting with them see the redemption arc, I guess, and kind of praise them for it or at least acknowledge it.
Yeah. And also they want to work with them and try to save them instead of trying to stop them.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So Maggie asks, Mr. Darcy, white, gray, or black?
I mean, for your answers, but good luck.
I was going to ask who the character was.
Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice, the main male character, Mr. Darcy.
Blink, blink.
Okay. So apparently I'm the only Jane Austen fan on the panel.
Yeah. I thought AWR just like your guys' type of tea. I would run and then come back.
So Mr. Darcy, to me, is a morally white character. He's honorable, he's charismatic, he has the good intentions.
That's like the traits of a morally white character.
How do you know?
From what Sam said, I will agree that he sounds like a white character.
I am the convincing part of this panel.
Okay.
Maggie says that Darcy is gray because he's selfish and emotionally abusive. I don't really see him that way, though. Well, again, it depends on the book too, because if you're going with the Mr. Darcy from the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or whatever, then yeah. But if you're going from Mr. Darcy, who is like, because he's keeping up with the times, he's keeping up with his title. So according to his title, that line, he never crosses that line.
Right.
So I think that would make him morally white. I mean, he's a little bit closer to the gray, but because of his upbringing, because of his title, because of what he has to protect and what he has to keep up appearances on, I think he's still a morally white character.
Well, and you had the idea of him being selfish, but selfish, again, how is that demonstrated and how how does the reader interpret it?
I don't know, because I didn't really see him as selfish.
Well, I don't know because I haven't read the book.
Explain, Maggie.
You can't get me to read one after the either, Sam.
Hey, don't let me. That's your guys' genre, not mine. I'm not touching a typical. You can't bribe me either.
Wow.
I don't care who dies as long as the dog lives. Yes. Maggie says the moment of redemption could be twofold: when they don't cause harm, or when they have no reason to be merciful but are.
But again, what is the motivation for them being merciful?
No, they just want to do
I'll
it.
save you, and you owe me later. Bye.
Okay, and let's see. I think when the motivation.
I'm a good person.
Maggie says, I think when the motivation isn't selfish or self-motivated, the gray bleeds into black. Rach says, I have two very gray and black characters who are on a redemption arc. So that's the reason why she's curious about the opinions of when characters cross over into a new moral compass.
Yeah, I like when a dark character is trying to go into morally gray or white. You see them trying to make an effort to be a better person.
Hmm.
Now, see, I didn't see them turning the more gray. White's kind of stretch.
Why?
They're not gonna go from I don't follow any rules because I was through society to yes, Lord, let me follow every rule. I want to be good. I don't see it.
But if you're motivated to be a better person for somebody else, they might.
Yeah, but it'll be great. I can't see someone that's dark going all the way to the other side special.
But were they dark or were they morally gray and it's too dark?
So, one way a morally black character could go all the way to morally white is they get possessed by an angel. No.
Yes! I agree with that!
Wow.
Like for Buffy with Angelicus.
All right.
Or the dark character gets a soul.
No, Spike still turned gray, so that was the joke.
Hal from Hal's Moving Castle, he gets his soul back. Why is it so heavy? There you go.
Wow. Reference, I know what they are. Yay!
All right. So, is a bank robber a bad person when he's robbing the bank to save an orphanage? That's a Robin Hood thing. Robin Hood has always been a morally gray character to me. So I think bank robbers who rob a bank to be good for a good reason is also a morally gray character.
I just see him Monday Rumroad. What is it, Larry?
No, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth.
No, you gotta say no.
No.
Gotta say it.
Because I was going to argue with it being white if nobody got harmed. But then again, he's breaking the law, so it's still morally gray. I'm going to go in a corner and be quiet.
I mean, Robin Hood could have always got a job and used his money, his income, to give to the poor. He didn't have to rob from the rich. So that to me is like a morally gray character. They have other options, but they choose the middle lane.
Right. I mean, he could have done a job, but that's not sticking to me.
Okay. All right. Is a stock trader a good person for making money to save the same orphanage, but is making money hand over fist and keeping it for himself?
That's a dark character.
I think that's just a morally great character because they have good intention to do something good. They're just being selfish.
Choosing not to. I agree with Lauren. I think that's a morally gray because the level of selfishness is higher usually for villains, but it can also be pretty high for morally black or morally gray characters too.
Right.
So, yeah.
But how do you know he's self-offering? It's not just a front to make it look like he's being good.
Right.
And that's why you're the villain. Right there. Right there.
Let's see. Maggie says Darcy is gray because he is selfish and emotionally abusive because he uses his virtue signaling to make himself seem like he isn't a smuck. And Rach agrees with Maggie. He's manipulative. Okay.
I could see that being a good argument for him being morally gray.
Yeah.
Good queer characters.
Shut up.
All right, let's see. Maggie says, I think the life experience of the reader causes white and black characters to seem more gray. Exactly. And it's
Or the other way around, too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like their perspective is biased.
Yeah. And it's also the era, too, because what was passable in the past is no longer that way. And what's passable now is bad back then, you know?
Or even if it's not passable now, like I feel like kind of what we were saying during the panel is based on their experience and their what they've faced in life. You might not agree with it, but you can understand it.
Yeah. Ooh. Dr. Frankenstein. Which is
No, wait. Dr. Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster? I know a lot of people don't mix it up.
Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
Dark.
I'd say gray.
Even you think science to basically like do his own bidding, and again, back to that time period, morally wrong to the citizens.
Yeah, I know, I did that. I know it's Ron, he was, getting gray and flying bodies, but he was just a lowly old man that wanted a friend.
Wow.
So Dr. Frankenstein to me is morally black because of the things that he had to do in order to achieve his goal, which was selfish in and of itself.
Do you feel like Dr. Frankenstein would have been able to been redeemed?
That depends on the version of the book or movie you see.
Yeah.
There's some where you think it, but then there's other version they show he's very abusive towards his creation. It's like, no, you should suffer.
But you just said he was a lonely old man. What is the companion?
I think he could have been redeemed if he had put the effort forth.
Yeah.
But throughout most of the end of the book, when he could have been redeeming himself, he was just trying to cover up his mistakes instead of trying to do better.
But I feel like he was just making excuses for it. Like he learned nothing.
Yeah. All right, so we've got 3 Jurassic Park characters.
Oh, God.
The first one is Dr. Alan Grant.
Okay.
You don't know who it is, do you?
Okay.
He's the one that created Jurassic Park. Right?
No.
Nope.
Okay, I'm walking away. Bye.
Grant.
It's you and Alan for. You should know this.
Get out.
Grant was the archaeologist. In the movie, he was the man and the woman at the very beginning.
Yeah, the one with the kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I knew I wanted to see how far Martin goes down the hole.
And that is the mark of a morally black character.
You're talking about Nikki here, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Give the hero a shovel and see what he does with it.
Wow.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I think Grant is. I think he was more of a morally white character than anybody else in that movie, because he didn't really do anything to make Jurassic Park worse, wrong.
He didn't do anything to make it better.
Well, he was trying to talk them out of doing it.
Yeah.
But then he got sidetracked because he was trying to survive.
Me.
Now, see, I think he started out great in one way because the reason why he did it originally is because his career was falling to its end and he saw a way to get famous from it.
Yeah.
But then realized that then it's like, I have to save myself, I have to save these kids, and that's when he started all the way.
Right. Okay. So, Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character.
Doesn't help me.
Anything Jeff Goldblum does is a great character.
Yeah, agreed.
Just blanket observation there.
I mean, now I'm just thinking he's the Wicked and Wicked, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yep. It has to be because that's all I'm thinking of now. So I kind of agree with your statement.
I can't remember the name of the character in Thor. The Game Master, I think he was called. Somebody help me out in the comments. I think it was a Game Master or something Master.
Trickmaster. No, wait, that's a different one.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to help the chat too. And trying to help my brain, but it's not. I think it was Game Master, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Let's see. I have the internet at my fingertips here.
Oh, Hero! Help me!
No.
Can I spell? Yes. Okay.
I think he's the one trying to parts by the
Grandmaster. That's what he was. Grandmaster, not Game Master.
You were close. Good job.
Yeah.
It counts.
Okay. But yeah, I just think everything that Jeff Goldblum does, including Ian Malcolm, is totally a morally gray character.
Yep.
Because
I agree.
every single one of them have their own thing going on. All right, so the last Jurassic Park, Dr. Henry Wu and Mr. Hammond. Mr. Hammond was the creator of Jurassic Park. He was the idea behind it. Dr. Henry Wu was the one that did the whole DNA building in order to create the live dinosaurs.
I mean, I guess you could argue that they're both morally gray.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Y'all are freaking out. There we go.
Dinosaurs.
Okay, you might have to repeat that because you froze up.
Oh no.
I wonder if it sounded weird.
Yeah.
I just got sidetracked thinking of dinosaurs. You were saying with Dr. Wu really morally gray, he was just lonely and wanted a pet.
Yep. I love it.
Dom, 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 dom.
I think Mr. Hammond would be morally gray because he wanted to create something different and something for the masses to enjoy in an educational area.
Right, now he wanted something to leave for his grandchildren.
Right. And I think Dr. Wu, I think he started out as morally gray, but as he saw what he was doing and what he could add to the DNA to create more deadly dinosaurs, I think he turned into a morally black character. I do believe he started as morally gray and then he just grew into a morally black.
In a way, he kind of corrupted like the power that gave him, because like, I'm gonna build an empire. Nobody can stop me.
Yeah.
Money.
Except for
Well, I mean,
dinosaurs. Yeah.
if I could create dinosaurs or create a species, I would be like, okay, let's add this and see what happens. I don't know if that's morally black or gray. It's just me wanting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Do your calculations. Someone else gets that.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
Let's see. Maggie says Dr. Frankenstein's ego was too big for him to be redeemed, like Dr. Wu, too busy trying to see if he could to ask if he should. That would be my problem. And avoiding the consequences.
It's like basically having a god complex. It's like,
Yeah.
just because I can doesn't mean I should, but ego gets in the way and you just say, screw the consequences, I'm going to do it anyway.
Screw the rules. I have money. I have to
Yeah.
do free.
Really? You're going in the corner.
Yeah. The financial guy, the accountant, Ingen, whatever his name was, yeah, he was morally black too.
Oh, he was totally black.
Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be all on y'all because it's been forever since I've read The Wizard of Oz and I haven't seen Wicked, any of them. So, Elphaba.
Alphaba?
Alphaba!
There you go. White, gray, or black?
I say gray, but a lot of people would think she's black. Because of the fact that she is now cast as her skin, and they saw her as an easy target to turn into a villain, but in her heart, she never was the actual true villain.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like, wow, you have a different outlook. I think that she wants to be like a white character because she has the principles that she stands by, but then like bullhead society ostracizes her for being different and kind of like, well, you know, if people want me to be the villain, I'll just give them what they want.
Right. And it's the perfect villain story.
Yep.
Okay. What about Glinda?
Again, it depends. No, because why are you laughing? You're making me distracted.
Good.
Depending on if you read the book or watch the movie, that she is supposed to be presented as being a good character, but I kind of see that she kind of does go into being morally gray because she's driven by her ego and her own selfish desires.
No,
Okay.
the reason I'm laughing because when everyone thinks of Wicked, they're like, Linda, learn.
I have no comment to that.
Oh, that's fair. Jeff Goldblum played a character in Earth Girls Are Easy, and she says that it was a white character. And I think, yeah, I'm going to have to rewatch it. But yeah, that was a white character. So Jeff Goldblum has one morally white character under his belt.
Which is what?
His character in Earth Girls Are Easy.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Were you about to date yourself?
No, I'm trying to remember all of it, to tell you the honest truth.
Oh.
It's one of those movies where you just have to watch. It's not as bad as the title makes it. It could be a little worse. It could be a little worse.
Not me. Not to go over in that. I feel like I like writing morally gray characters, but I probably could write a white character. She says with question mark.
No, correction. You are a white person character, and when you try to write gray, you still try to white.
You just dipped your toes into the swamp water and then pulled back out.
Wow.
Yeah, most of my characters are either dark or gray. I don't do light. I don't know how.
I have a few white characters, and then I have a ton of gray characters. And then I have plenty of morally black characters. Okay, we've got 3 more minutes, so here's another question. Does the avoidance or acceptance of consequences shift a character on the spectrum if they are still continuing their behaviors?
Ooh.
That's a deep question. That's
a really good question.
I think the avoidance of consequences shifts them more towards the morally black end of the spectrum, because they know they're doing wrong, but they're not going to own up to it, and they're not going to fix it. So that, to me, is a morally black character.
I would agree with that. As I said, most dark characters, they know the rules, they know law society, but they're not don't want to follow them because they don't agree with them. Right. So by avoiding all that, still sticking to what they believe in.
Mm-hmm. Unless the consequences are out of this world, wrong.
That's far away. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what they're trying to avoid. If it's something like that's motivated internally, I feel it kind of goes back on the hero journey, like them struggling with something they're trying to overcome in themselves. But if it's like an outside influence, then yeah, I agree with what Nicole said.
Okay. How flawed can a morally white character be and still be a morally white character?
I think as long as they don't go against their own morals or virtues.
Yeah, and like once they like cross that line, then they're kind of going towards being morally gray. But they can still like come back from it, I think.
Yeah. I think as long as they keep to their standards, to their morals, to that line, and they are still doing good, and they are still trying to get others to do good too. I think they can do one bad thing, like steal an ice cream. What is it with me and ice cream right now?
Did you hear the ice cream truck earlier?
No, I did not. So I don't know what it is.
Or sister left their ice cream truck like every couple hours.
Well, it is summertime. Your mind's like, it's hot out.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's what it is. It's got to be the ice water isn't doing its job. Let's
Well,
see, we
here's
all
one of
know.
the time back of like helping out an animal. A morally white character stealing a van, breaking into a van to save puppies.
And to add to that, if the consequences that they are avoiding of stealing that van is death, which is a ridiculous consequence for stealing a van to save puppies, are they then morally black?
Or another add-on to it. If going after your actions, can you get away from it, or can you kill another person?
Ooh.
Okay, we need to go. You're supposed to give a buffer for the next stream.
No. I was keeping an eye on the time. We have
Right.
3 minutes. You guys want to do a quick intro? Continue. I'm the good one. I swear.
Great.
All right, so what to take away from this? Morally, white, gray, and black characters are subjective to the reader and to the character and to the world. Right? Right.
And the character, white or black, can be swayed into the middle depending on the circumstance.
Like Mario.
Oh my god! That was silly. That was sugar for you.
All right. Do we want to do an outro or?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Do you want me to say an outro for all of us and then you just hit the
Okay.
button? Okay.
I'm just thinking of ice cream.
Thank you all for joining us for this little round table discussion with the chat on morally white, gray, and black characters. We will see y'all next time. Enjoy the rest of the AWC.
Bye, guys. Fun.
Oh my god.
Of course, they're chaos.